What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Root. So I'm going to review the debut album by rapper Scarface. Basically this product is called Mr. Scarface is Back, and it came out in the fall of 1991. So the thing about this particular product here is just the fact that Scarface was originally a part of the rap group Ghetto Boys as far as this pitch can happen. He dropped a series of albums with them between like the late 80s, early 90s, some of those type fairs. They really stretched about like the mid-late 90s for this first going to happen. But Scarface started a solo career in 91. I think there was a Ghetto Boys album that came out in 91 as well that did particularly pretty well. I want to say there was like a song on there called like Mind Playing Tricks on Me, some of those type pitches. Yeah, particularly Scarface had a large 1991 with the Mind Playing Tricks on Me hit single. That was one of Ghetto Boys' largest charting songs around that time in the summer of 91. So it's pitches like that. This is a classic album here to be able to say within those pitches. Definitely an aspect. I recommend every song out of the 12 songs on here, so it's pretty excellent type fare to get that. Just like pretty much standard fare for these particular pitches. I've given quite a few Scarface albums 10s out of 10 within those pitches. Excellent type fare. He's a legend within pitches like that. It's easy enough to kind of see and say that as far as those pitches can happen just within an aspect. Albums like The Fix, albums like Made, albums like The Untouchable, some of those type ones, albums like The Diary, some of these type pitches. I think I gave The World Is Yours from 93 a pretty high score. I don't know if I gave that one a 10, but it's pretty damn close. Scarface's mixtape from 2010, Dope Man Music, was pretty excellent as well within the pitch behind it. So some excellent type fares are within some of these type fares. This is just another stock one. And the thing about this particular album, as far as nailing the classic fares, it does it on top of that with the factoid disc not being as much amidst like the G-Funk and kind of more revolutionized era that particularly happened because of folks like NWA and folks like that to certain extent, you know, with Eazy-E stuff, Dr. Dre stuff, some of those type fares, Ice Cube, some of those type folks that were doing that particular fare just in the conduct, Tupac, some of those particular type folks. It's just within pitch. This is like, I feel like this album has a little bit more gloss about it compared to The World Is Yours. I'd say ultimately, if I had to choose between this particular album, Mr. Scarface is Back, and The World Is Yours, I'd probably go with this one a little bit more. I feel like The World Is Yours was a little bit more social. That one had more smoking songs on there, but this particular one has a lot of horror type fare about, which is an excellent type aspect. It kind of combines some things. This is gangster rap on this particular pitch. It's the sort of stuff that just like a more mellow, kind of lazy and swash version of stuff that Ice Cube's kind of doing. If you take songs by Ice Cube and like that G-Funk kind of gangster rap type tint with songs like You Know How We Do It, some of those type pitches, and to a certain extent kind of Really Dope, some of those type ones, or Ghetto Bird, the Ice Cube kind of particularly did way out in 93, 94. It's just kind of the pitch that I feel like Scarface is just kind of like the stoned Ice Cube as far as this pitch can happen. It's just the same sort of format amongst it. He does do gangster rap, but it's just kind of in a more type pitch of just having red eyes, glazed type fare within the pitch behind it. But also, just on top of that, there's a bunch of drugstore music on here, which is pretty excellent context. If you don't know about just the pitch, when you think of places like the phrase drugstore is kind of an old school type phrase, but just in the pitch, just kind of it would be like a pharmacy, but just more drugstore places where you could buy alcohol, cigarettes, some of those type fares, magazines, some of those type pitches with an aspect behind it. Just kind of the context of just being able to get towards some of that type fare within the pitch, and just having the extra type conduct of what you need, but it's not necessarily just like, you know, picking up meds, something like that. So it's just one pitch as far as saying it has that particular conduct about it, just kind of uptown kind of places, just a little bit more just brick and mortar type places within the pitch behind it. This one, not quite as jovial and quite as peppy as The World Is Yours, but just kind of the conduct of this places where you're just going to go for like town hop kind of strolls, pitches like that, whether it is just picking up like a beer and a Subway sandwich, some of those type pitches, some of that particular type conduct, just kind of in a more glazed type sense, and also kind of in a horror type tone. It's kind of horror gangster rap, pretty similar to Brother Lynch hung a few years before he came out. So it's just one pitch that has a good meldment, pretty revolutionary type album within the pitch behind it. Did a lot of things. It's carried the aspect that Scarface was pretty potent, being able to go solo within the pitches, just from the aspect of what he did with Ghetto Boys to compared to what he did now. So this is a classic debut, I feel like. No, this album only went gold in terms of sales as far as this pitch can happen, but I look after it here, the singles were good within the aspect as far as that went. Scarface really wasn't too commonly someone that really got like number one, number two singles within the pitch. I still feel like Smile is probably his biggest song. That, you know, probably Smile with Tupac's probably one of his biggest songs. Some of those type pitches. Game Over is pretty big song. Some of those type ones. The song that he did, My Block's pretty big off the Fix, some of those type ones. But he always was kind of more of like a gold selling artist within those pitches. But this is some solid stuff here. He's more critically acclaimed, more so than the aspect, more casual appeal. But this definitely has some popular aspects about it. Just to be able to say that it has the fare of just standard fare pitches like that. That just combines like gangster rap with horrorcore and some of those type fares, southern hip hop, some of those type pitches. Just nails a lot of these aspects just to be able to do it. So, and then plus some smokish fare. So yeah, just being able to say Mr. Scarface is a nice one here. Mr. Scarface, the relative title track is a nice one here. The lead single is like a razzly kind of typical late day down. Mr. Scarface, the relative title track as far as this pitch gonna happen is like a razzly kind of typical late day town hop to kind of get here. Just social drugstore music, I'd say within the pitch, just good for some smoke walking as far as this pitch gonna happen. Just neighborhood smokes and strolls pitches like that. It's kind of in a more old fashioned type sense, just within the pitch when you think of places that are just not necessarily swashed like a full bound sense, but just kind of more lackadaisical, just kind of more where there would be nearby kind of thrift stores and like antique stores, some of those type of pitches, just within the context of just more brick layered type places, not as much full bound kind of high tech within some of those type fairs as town hop type places within the pitch, just more back just within the format of it. But it's good type fair, just drugstore type music, like I was saying, good concept for that. It's kind of out and about, kind of the same social conduct like The World Is Yours, but just has a little bit more retro type fashion about it. Just really feels like saloon type music within a certain type sense. It's kind of old town type music, but works for a pretty good pitch for that. This is kind of, I mean, this is retro, but it does it within a stylish type way where it's just not a dinosaur within the aspect of just, saying, oh, that, he's talking about not talking about grandpa type music within the pitch, was just good type tone for it. A Minute to Pray and a Second to Die is a nice one. This is the second single here. It's like a glazed kind of similar fashion to It Was a Good Day by Ice Cube, good type pitch. Now, in terms of the lyrics, it's not depicting like the concept of like a good type day. It was just the pitch as far as saying that just the production fair just has that similar kind of swash and just mellow, high grade, swashed and mellow kind of high grade fashion with just like another Red Eyes type fashion within the pitch behind. So it's this good type one kind of get here, just real like the kind of sedate type fashion of this particular song as far as this pitch kind of having this good aspect. Scarface has done songs like this. I forget what it was called, but it was off of like The Office, I'd have to say. Like, Scarface is pretty good at doing songs like this. Like, Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangsta. I think that was the particular name of the song. That particular hit song never wound up on a Scarface album, which is really a shame because that's one of his highest charting songs. But just to say, Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangsta, and songs like A Minute to Pray, Second to Die are pretty good fashion within that. So just really sort of aspect. I mean, I think within a certain sense, if you do like movies like The Office, it's that similar type fashion. Just get some of those type ones that just seeing the original type fashion how Scarface did it. So just kind of makeshift here, just food for thought within a pitch, just in a more kind of just real talk type fashion. Really nails that vibe. So that's the thing. So the basic thing about this particular album is this really came out before like the real mainstream bite of like more kind of G-funk type albums within the pitch. I mean, at least Niggas for Life by NWA was at least out around this particular time, but within the fashion behind it, albums were kind of starting to meld as far as this pitch can happen. So it's just kind of the flesh out of getting some of those turntable type-esque type things than a pitch, but the production fare is pretty good on here. So it's just one pitch. I recommend every song on here. So this album gets a 10 out of 10. So just go down the list of some of these. Like, so a real highlight out this particular album is I'm Dead. This is like a vintage kind of Scarface to gas flavor to kind of get here. Just good for day strolls, but kind of ghoulish, I'd say, within the pitch behind it. Just kind of some upside down kind of funkage within the pitch behind as far as this first going to happen. So the product about this particular song is Scarface just figuring out, not realizing that he's dead amidst like the song just within the pitch behind it. Pretty clever type song format within the pitch, just as far as those first going to happen. And just good aspect for some of that hauntingness, typical kind of spook aspects, especially for 1991. Some excellent type fare. It's one of those type ones that just has the pitch behind it, just Scarface with that horror type flavor. Good type fare for some of that. There are some mild kind of horrorcore type moments on here. I'm not sure it's full bound where the first few horrorcore albums have them. I want to say Esham was one of the first ones to do it as well. Brother Lynch, some of those type folks. There's like a cat that rolled, I forget his name. Some of those type folks like X-rated some of those particular type fares within the pitch behind it. And just look after here. But Born Killer is a highlight just within some of those type pitches. I like that early kind of horrorcore. It's like a horror fright kind of evening commerce kind of get here. Just blood pumping, kind of paranoia. I'd say about this one. Just thumping kind of G-funk hit within the pitch behind it. So Born Killer is just vintage kind of the diary, and Born Killer is just a vintage kind of the diary and just 90s kind of horrorcore type aspects of like Scarface as far as this pitch can happen. Definitely an early bird type one within those pitches. Just really pulsating type one that works pretty well. Just gets the blood pumping and does it in an extreme sense, real aspect for that. Diary of a Madman's a quality one on here. It's like a typical kind of late day errand run, I'd have to say, in commerce. Definitely it's like this like a gothic kind of golden era push as far as this pitch can happen. So kind of within the aspect of makeshift, but just kind of within the pitch to having like a gothic tint about it as far as this aspect's going to happen. Just good type tone for some of that just kind of more kind of just horror. It kind of has the edge factor, just something you'd probably listen to around September, October, pitches like that as the leaves start turning orange or brown, some of those particular type fares within the pitch behind it. It's a good type aspect for some of that. It's kind of the late Diary of a Madman. It's kind of a spook tinge and kind of just haze type one within the pitch as far as those formats kind of happen. It's good for the factor. Definitely a standout for 1991, I'd have to say, within the pitch behind. Just some of those type ones that just have a real kind of just snarl about them that works pretty well. Your Ass Got Took is a nice one as well. It's like a nice bass guitar groove on this particular one. Just some more drugstore strolls within pitches like that. Goes like a good 1-2 punch with Mr. Scarface, some of those type ones. Diary of a Madman, some of those type pitches. And it's good for snackage pitches like that. Just a lazy kind of smoke of you within pitches like that. It's kind of neighborhood, just strolls and jaunts as far as those pitches can happen. Picking up like some checks mix, some of those particular type fares within the aspect behind a good type tone. I would say Murder by Reason of Insanity is a nice one here. Is like a basic pub and lounge cut, kind of go within some of those aspects. Just kind of Murder by Reason of Insanity is like a basic pub and lounge type music, kind of get here. Just good cut loose within pitches like that. Social but composed, kind of fun within the aspect of it here. It's kind of the pitch. I mean, the particular fair about this is Scarface is really not as prolific on this particular album. It's not to say it's not prolific in terms of fun, but just the aspect in terms of like the shriek kind of rage type factor, like when you would think of someone like Old Dirty Bastard or Tupac when he really gets riled up, some of those type pitches, folks from like the 90s, some of that type fair. Scarface a little bit more cool and calculated. Scarface a little bit more cold and calculating, just cool as a cucumber. Pitches like that, just in the pitch behind it. It's a good type fair as far as these pitches can have, but it is basic horrorcore within the pitch. But I do like some of these ones on here because it kind of switches between like drugstore music of just getting like a brown paper bag kind of beer, some of those type pitches, to like just standard restaurant, going to Subway, some of those type fairs. It's pitches like that. It's kind of day hop just within the fashion behind it, but also just the pitch of like visiting like a local pub or saloon, some of those type places, or even lounge just within the standard fare, just like a few social moments of just like getting some standard quick dap within pitches like that, and just the aspect kind of behind it. Just kind of has the tone. Body Snatchers is a nice one. It's like a feel-good kind of day stroll saunter to kind of get within these aspects. It's kind of a lazy, sunny, fun day within pitches like that. Just visit lounges and pitches like that in restaurants, some of those type fairs within a lazy sense. Just good neighborhood day fare within the pitch. Talking about Body Snatchers, good pitch for that. Say PD Rome is a quality one within these aspects as well. It's like a typical kind of vintage 90s gangster rap flavor, I'd have to say here. Definitely just reminds me of like this particular whole song just sounds like a police siren pitches like that, some of those particular type fairs. This definitely reminds of like an Ice Cube or MC8 type song from like the 90s. It's 91, 93, some of those type pitches. Just good for like some outs just in the fashion of it. Just neighborhood type pitches. It's kind of ghetto bird type music, some of those type fairs of just like it's kind of slumish, kind of tennis shoes on like the telephone pole pitches like that. Some of those standard type fairs, just neighborhood funks and pitches of that particular product. Just good concept. Considering that Scarface was not from like the California slums as far as this pitch can happen. It's just good type context in that this sort of thing is happening even in Texas, places like that. Some of those type fairs within the pitch behind. So it's good type conduct. Just getting like southern hip hop version of gangster rap, which was not as super common around those particular times, around that particular time. Apart from, I mean, yeah, that wasn't stuff that Two Live Crew was kind of doing. So I want to say Scarface was one of the originals within those pitches behind it, apart from Ghetto Boy. So it's good type fare. Money in the Power is a bitchin' one as well. It's like a jovial kind of social commerce, I'd say, just day saloons and out in the sun kind of traverse as far as this pitch kind of happen. It's kind of the product of dislike. It's kind of the aspect, kind of songs like Body Snatchers just within pitch, but just kind of the product of also music of just lounge type fare like Murder by Reason of Insanity. Just kind of the pitch of just like the standard day activity, some of those type pitches, just kind of within just kind of. So Money in the Power has pep, but it kind of has like a lazy kind of stone pep within the pitch behind. Just kind of that mellow kind of pep about it, but it's just a good aspect for some of that relative type pitch of just having some good aspects, but probably just kind of energy, it's kind of good energy, but just kind of high as hell as far as this pitch kind of happen. And then the Pimp is a quality one. It's like a basic kind of day after hours lounge kind of get here, just Two Live Crew like kind of edge within the factor. And by that I mean the raunch factor within pitches like that. Just good fuck song with good fuck buddy song within pitches like that. Just kind of the relief after day dredge as far as this pitch kind of happens. So just kind of the fair as far as saying just the product of just after moments of just like lengthy day within the pitch behind it. Just kind of good makeshift, just retire within pitches like that. It's kind of the concept of just like summer kind of aspect of this local lounge kind of neighborhood retire as far as those aspects kind of happen. Just a good product of just like a relief from like the typical conduct. Most of this is pretty composed within a sense, but this is kind of one that's just more informal within a pitch. It just not being as composed within the normal type format of it. So it's just kind of the product of it. Just I'd say within the aspect here. So I think I talked about every song within those aspects just to be able to say. Maybe I didn't talk about Good Girl Gone Bad. I think this is the only last one I haven't talked about. So Good Girl Gone Bad is like a late lounge and kind of saloon music. I'd say just out for the night, but not crazy within the pitch behind. Just good song for some beers as far as those pitch kind of happen. It's good product amidst like the nightlife as far as those pitch kind of happen. Most of this is kind of actually surprisingly more between like noon and maybe about 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock p.m. as far as those pitch can happen. But there are a few moments for like some of that just night type fare, or just like the product just step out within some of those type pitches. Just good for it's good for a few composed nights of just cold beers pitches like that. Just the pitch of just like out on like a live music type pitch. Some of those type fares just like some night jaunts within some of that type aspect. Just good saloon type music and just like a more kind of typical kind of neighborhood type sense within the old, just more throwback kind of old old school type fashion just in the pitch. So it's good type tone, but I look after it. So yeah, product of this album is it pulls out the fashion and just having like 90s type albums within the pitch, but it's not retro within the sense. This is pretty sonically pleasing within the aspect, just the production fare that it had. This is better than a lot of boom bap records around that particular time. This actually stands out quite a bit, I'd have to say, within the aspect behind it. Real notable within the aspect, just nails horrorcore, nails gangsta rap, nails some of these southern hip hop type things. It nails the pitch behind it, has a lot of good aspects. It's social, nails these particular products, drugstore music, saloon type music, a little bit of makeshift in there within pitches, just within the trade fashion of it, just kind of good. Neighborhood Johnson, just high as hell kind of strolls within the pitch, just having a good time, just in a lazy type fashion. It's kind of more swashed and taken aback, but it nails the pitch as far as those flavors going to happen. So yeah, score gets a 10 out of 10. The social score I'll probably give like a 9.5 or a 9.75. I'll give it a 9.75 because I just feel like the fashion behind it is a big deal, but it probably could have used a hit on like the size of Mind playing tricks on me, something like that within the fashion behind it. I think that's about the only thing it really lacked. I mean, Scarface crested off of that particular 91 album by the Ghetto Boys pretty well, but it's just kind of fashion as far as saying that this album didn't have as many hits on it compared to the Ghetto Boys album. So it's just on the pitch as far as saying it's kind of not secondary in terms of quality, but just kind of like a booster shot as far as getting further type stuff after the product of Ghetto Boys with their sheer album that they had in 91. So it's a good product, but just didn't really have a megaton kind of hit, but still good within a sense, but just the casual sense. It's kind of the appeal, has some social type vibe. I feel like it's good for your homies, some of that type fare. A little bit of Bella songs in here within the pitch, just neighborhood type fashions, but this kind of aspect that's just just more subdued within the pitch and not as feral or crazy and attention grabbing in terms of the crazy factor of it. But the casualness is on here. It's just more secondary within the pitch. But I look after it, so 9.75 social. In terms of the future, like Scarface is kind of retired. He's been gone since 2015, but he did put out like a bonus album in 2017. But he does still have some more projects to get to. I've virtually reviewed everything by Scarface. I need to get to his year 2000 album, and there's like his 2011 mixtape, some of those type fairs. I'm gonna get to some more of these type ones, but within the pitch, I virtually reviewed everything by Scarface. But we're getting towards it within a pretty quick fashion. So stay tuned for some more of these. Visit the Scarface playlist to get all these reviews, and this is like a virtual class, or this is a classic here within pretty bound type sense of it.